From the majestic pyramids of Egypt to the mysterious tombs of Chinese emperors, human history is filled with stories that have yet to be fully explained. The secrets surrounding the final resting places of kings, queens, and their lost treasures have not only captivated archaeologists, but have also stirred the curiosity of millions of people around the world. In this video, we'll explore the most enigmatic tombs, places whose mysteries continue to defy scientific explanation. So fasten your seatbelt as we dive into today's mystery. But first, you'll have incredible luck if you like, and subscribe before this video ends. The Tomb of the Taj Mahal. The Taj Mahal, a masterpiece of architecture on the banks of the Yamuna River in Agra, is not only one of the 7 wonders of the world, but also a symbol of the eternal love between Emperor Shah Jahan and his late wife, Mumtaz Mahal. This monument was built in the 17th century as an everlasting promise from the emperor to his beloved partner, who died while giving birth to their 14th child. Today, the Taj Mahal stands out with its ethereal beauty of white marble, its perfectly symmetrical lines, and it draws millions of visitors from all around the world. Yet, beneath that splendid exterior, the mausoleum still guards many unsolved mysteries. Does there truly exist a network of secret chambers or lost treasures beneath the marble floor? And what about the legend of a black Taj Mahal, said to lie on the opposite bank of the river? Could it really exist? These questions have not only captivated historians, but have also fired the imagination of anyone who has ever set foot in this place. Shah Jahan ascended the throne in 1628, and under his reign, the Mughal Empire reached the pinnacle of its cultural, artistic, and architectural development. His love with Mumtaz Mahal began at a marketplace in Delhi in 1607, when Mumtaz was only 14 years old. Her beauty and intelligence struck Prince Shah Jahan from the very first glance. After marrying in 1612, the two became the emblem of an ideal romance, with Mumtaz always at her husband's side through every upheaval of the court and even on the battlefield. In 19 years together, they had 14 children, but tragedy struck in 1631, when Mumtaz died at the age of 39 after childbirth. It is said that Shah Jahan grieved so deeply that his hair turned white overnight. Before her death, Mumtaz asked him to build her a tomb worthy of their profound love. Shah Jahan fulfilled that promise by building the Taj Mahal, turning it into an everlasting symbol of love and devotion. The Taj Mahal was constructed on the banks of the Yamuna River in the city of Agra, about 230 kilometers from the capital, New Delhi. The project was completed in 1653, after more than 20 years of construction and at the immense cost of 32 million rupees at the time, equivalent to billions of dollars today. Under the supervision of architect Ustad Ahmad Lahari, more than 20,000 artisans and craftsmen from across the Islamic world, together with thousands of elephants transporting precious materials, joined forces to create this wonder. The Taj Mahal is a convergence of Mughal, Persian, Islamic, and Hindu architecture, featuring walls of white marble inlaid with 28 kinds of precious stones. The main tomb rises 75 meters high, crowned by a golden lotus-shaped dome, surrounded by the vast Charbagh Gardens, a representation of paradise in Islamic tradition. At the center of the mausoleum rests the sarcophagus of Mumtaz Mahal, and after Shah Jahan's death in 1666, he was laid to rest beside his wife, according to the wishes of their son, Aurangzeb. However, Shah Jahan's coffin is the only asymmetrical feature in an otherwise perfectly balanced design. Yet the mysterious allure of the Taj Mahal is accompanied by puzzles that continue to fascinate visitors and scholars alike. One of the most popular theories is the existence of secret rooms or hidden treasure beneath the tomb. Although archaeologists have used radar scans to search for underground chambers, no definitive evidence of gold, silver, or ancient Mughal documents has ever been found. Some believe that if these hidden chambers do exist, they might contain precious artifacts or unpublished historical records, but for reasons of heritage preservation, further excavation is extremely difficult. In addition, the ancient wooden foundations of the Taj Mahal have begun to rot due to a lack of groundwater, causing cracks to appear and some towers to start leaning. Even though stories of hidden treasure remain unproven, they continue to lend the Taj Mahal the aura of a palace shrouded in mystery, echoing from a distant golden era. Alongside these mysteries, the legend of a black Taj Mahal has also been a subject of debate for centuries. Some sources suggest that Shah Jahan once planned to build a tomb of black marble opposite the Taj Mahal, intended for himself, to form a symmetrical pair on either side of the Yamuna River. The French historian François Bernier recorded this information, and traces of black stone found in Mehtab Bagh, the garden across from the Taj Mahal, have been cited as evidence. However, many modern experts, such as Professor Wayne Begley, have dismissed this hypothesis, as no Mughal documents confirm the existence of plans for a black tomb. Archaeological digs at Mehtab Bagh have revealed only a pool and the foundation of an old garden, with no sign of a mausoleum. Furthermore, after Shah Jahan was overthrown and imprisoned by his son Aurangzeb in 1658, he no longer had any chance to realize such a grand project. Today, the Taj Mahal is not only a magnificent architectural marvel, but also an immortal symbol of love, power, and the opulence of an empire that once ruled South Asia. Yet, this masterpiece must now face modern challenges, such as air pollution, which has caused the marble to yellow, forcing authorities to restrict traffic near the monument and to employ special cleaning technologies. Recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site since 1983, the Taj Mahal now receives over 7 million visitors a year, but the threat of deterioration is ever present. The mysteries of the secret rooms, hidden treasures, or the legend of the Black Taj Mahal may never be fully solved, but it is precisely these enigmas that have made the Taj Mahal a destination for the imagination and the yearning for discovery in all of humanity. The tomb of Genghis Khan. When it comes to the greatest military strategists in history, we could list a number of names from all corners of the world. Yet, if we are to speak of the most extraordinary figure, the man who conquered the world and brought fear wherever he went, there is truly only one, none other than Genghis Khan. In 21 years of campaigning, he conquered more territory than anyone else in human history. He traveled farther than Alexander the Great, reached more cities than Julius Caesar, and the hoofbeats of his Mongol cavalry devastated the entire Eurasian continent. One might think that a man of such stature, after his death, would leave behind a monumental tomb for the ages, something for later generations to remember. Yet the truth is quite the opposite. Genghis Khan ordered his closest followers to bury him in an unmarked grave and to eliminate all those who took part in the funeral. Since its completion in the year 1227, the tomb of Genghis Khan has remained an enduring secret throughout history, even to this day. Why did the great Khan have to conceal his final resting place? Where is its true location? And does his tomb hide something even greater than we have imagined? Genghis Khan was born in 1162 on the vast steppes of Mongolia. At the time of his birth, his father, Yesugei, had just defeated a well-known warrior named Temujin from a rival tribe. To mark this victory, Yesugei decided to name his son Temujin, taking the very name of the enemy he had vanquished. In those days, the Mongols followed the Tengri faith, a sky-worshipping religion quite different from Confucianism or Buddhism. They believed that all things had spirits, and their concept of reincarnation was very different from Buddhist doctrine. For this reason, the Mongols did not fear giving their children the names of their enemies, nor did they worry about revenge or bad luck. These unique traditions and beliefs helped forge a powerful spirit among children raised on the steppes, including the boy named Temujin. Temujin's journey to becoming the Great Khan began with his effort to end the endless civil wars raging across the Mongolian steppes. Through iron will, decisive action, and exceptional military skill, Temujin gradually subdued and unified the rival tribes. After this decisive victory, the tribal leaders honored him with the title Genghis Khan, which means King of the World in Mongolian. Immediately after ascending to power, Genghis Khan launched a series of campaigns unparalleled in history. He led his armies to completely destroy the two mighty neighboring states of the Jin and the Western Shah. Not stopping there, the Mongol Empire he founded pressed westward, sweeping through the Russian steppes and many vast regions, establishing a gigantic empire stretching from Asia all the way to Europe. The name of Genghis Khan quickly became a source of terror across the continent. The mere mention of him was enough to strike fear into anyone who heard it. It was this reputation and strength that made him the leading figure among the greatest generals ever recorded by history. Despite a life full of glory and victory, Genghis Khan, in the end, still had to face death. What is unusual is that the Great Khan's passing occurred suddenly and under mysterious circumstances, becoming the beginning of a series of later legends. Some say that while on campaign, he rode a red horse with black spots and was thrown to the ground falling ill and never recovering. Others believe he died from serious battle wounds or from an infected arrow wound. Still others whisper that Genghis Khan was castrated by a princess he had captured and bled to death. Some think he succumbed to typhoid fever, while modern research suggests the possibility that he died of the plague. Though there are many competing theories and legends, historians largely agree that, based on historical records, Genghis Khan fell ill and died in August 1227 at the age of 60. Nevertheless, the true cause of his death remains one of history's great mysteries, with no definitive answer to this day. The burial of Genghis Khan was carried out under conditions of near absolute secrecy, following the strictest ancient Mongolian rituals. The missionary, Plano Carpini, who was sent to Mongolia in the 13th century, left behind valuable accounts of how the great Khans were buried. According to his writings, when a great Khan died, the Mongols would select a remote, deserted place, clear the area, and dig a deep pit in the earth. The entrance to the tomb was at the edge of this pit. When the body was placed inside, the Khan's most trusted slave was made to lie beneath the corpse. During this special ritual, the slave would be brought out when he was on the verge of death to recover, then placed back inside the tomb, and this would be repeated 3 times. If the slave survived these rites, he would be freed and greatly honored. Once the burial was finished, gold, silver, and jewels were interred with the master. To ensure complete secrecy, Genghis Khan's descendants and loyal soldiers drove thousands of horses over the newly dug earth, erasing all traces and making the area unrecognizable. It is said that the course of a great river was even diverted to flow over the tomb, so that the great Khan could rest in peace for all eternity. To add to the sanctity and mystery, a shaman was summoned to cast a curse, vowing that any who disturbed Genghis Khan's final resting place would have their soul taken away forever by the wings of death. For centuries, the precise location of Genghis Khan's tomb has remained one of the greatest mysteries, tormenting generations of scholars, archaeologists, and treasure hunters alike. According to the Yuan Shi Chronicles, the burial sites of the great Khans were recorded as a place called Kenti Valley, which today most researchers believe is the Kenti mountain range in eastern Mongolia. Others argue it may be closer to the Khangai Mountains or not far from modern-day Ulaanbaatar. While debate continues, most scholars agree that the Kentiai region is the most likely candidate for the great Khan's final resting place. In the 1960s, several expeditions and archaeological surveys were conducted in the region. They uncovered many ancient relics and hundreds of stone graves scattered across the mountains. Yet, to this day, no one has truly found the real tomb of Genghis Khan, and the mystery of his burial place remains unsolved. At the dawn of the 21st century, the lure of the treasure said to be buried with Genghis Khan's tomb attracted many international archaeological teams to Mongolia, including one led by American billionaire Maury Kravitz. With the support of local archaeologists and state-of-the-art equipment, they hoped to uncover clues about the great Khan's final resting place. In 2002, this team began a perilous expedition into the wild mountains northeast of Ulaanbaatar. From the very beginning, they were met with heavy rains and storms, lasting for days. After more than a month of effort, they finally discovered a stone wall 10 meters underground. When the workers started to break through the wall to reach inside, a swarm of venomous snakes suddenly emerged from cracks in the rocks and attacked those present. Some managed to escape, while others were bitten or seriously injured. There were even deaths. The misfortune continued. As the injured were being taken for medical treatment, their vehicle plunged into a lake, and all aboard died under mysterious circumstances. Despite the losses and repeated accidents, the pressure from their massive financial investment drove the team to resume their excavation. However, as soon as they broke through the wall, some archaeologists in the group were suddenly struck by a strange illness that caused swelling and unusual fluid to seep from their bodies. Most died soon after, despite all efforts to save them. After a series of strange incidents and fatalities, the Mongolian authorities were forced to intervene and halt all excavation activities in order to preserve the peace of the ancestors and to end the dangers faced by those attempting to dig. Stories of disaster, strange illness, and mysterious deaths haunting those who dared to violate what is believed to be Genghis Khan's tomb have led many to believe that a deadly curse truly exists at this site. For that reason, the mystery surrounding the great Khan's tomb not only intrigues later generations, but also casts a shadow of fear over anyone bold enough to disturb his eternal rest. Not only is the location of the tomb a mystery, But the very structure of Genghis Khan's burial place is also the subject of many dramatic theories. Some suggest that his tomb is protected by an intricate system of deadly traps, so dangerous that no one who enters could ever return. These legends describe the tomb as being like a dragon palace beneath a lake, an image found in stories from China's spring and autumn period, where ancient kings built their tombs deep underground or even beneath water, then used special measures to protect their rest from intruders. The construction of such complex defenses for tombs is not unfamiliar in Eastern history. From the tomb of Qin Shi Huang, with its thousands of terracotta warriors and sophisticated traps, to graves protected by curses and deadly mechanisms in many dynasties, Eastern monarchs always sought to keep their final resting places secret and safe. Therefore, the theory that Genghis Khan's tomb is guarded by deadly traps is entirely plausible and only adds to the reasons why this place remains a mystery without solution. Even to this day, the secret of Genghis Khan's tomb remains unanswered. Every search, no matter how carefully prepared or equipped with the most modern technology, has ended in complete failure. The tomb of the Great Khan remains beyond the reach of modern humanity, standing as an everlasting testament to the power and mystery of one of history's greatest figures. The tomb of Empress Dowager Cixi. In the history of China, Empress Dowager Cixi is one of those figures who continue to intrigue and divide generations. She was born in 1835, beginning life as a minor consort of Emperor Xianfeng, but through intelligence and determination, she gradually seized power and became the most influential woman in the Qing dynasty for nearly half a century. At the height of her power, she controlled the courts of 3 emperors, Tongzhi, Guangxu, and Puyi, and every decision she made had the power to change the fate of China. The death of Empress Dowager Cixi occurred on the 15th of November, 1908, just one day after the passing of Emperor Guangxu, and to this day, many people still question that strange coincidence. Her funeral became an unprecedented event, with expenses totaling millions of taels of silver, far surpassing any of the ceremonies held for previous emperors. Even her final resting place left the world astonished by its scale and extravagance. Cixi's tomb, known as Putuo Yuding Dongling, is located within the Eastern Qing Tombs complex in Zunhua County, Hebei Province, about 125 kilometers from Beijing. Construction of the tomb began when she was just over 40 years old, under the supervision of Prince Chun Yuhuan, the younger brother of Emperor Xianfeng. However, when the tomb was first completed, Cixi was not satisfied with the design, so she ordered it to be completely demolished and rebuilt in 1895. At this time, the Qing treasury was nearly depleted, yet she still spent more than 5 million taels of silver on the new project. The result was a mausoleum, famous for its exquisite blend of real gold, rare woods, and the finest marble. Within the tomb complex stand 3 great halls, each lavishly decorated with thousands of gold leaves, including 2,400 golden dragons and 64 wooden columns, all intricately carved. The wood used for the columns and beams was golden pear wood, renowned for its durability and rarity in China at the time, so valuable that even an inch was said to be worth as much as gold. Her coffin itself was made from golden threaded nanmu, an even rarer and more expensive wood, typically reserved for the most special of emperors. All of the stone blocks in the tomb are made of Han white jade, a pure white marble, each piece carved with images of dragons and phoenixes, symbolizing ultimate power and authority, surpassing even that of the emperors before her. Empress Dowager Cixi did not only pay attention to the outward appearance of her tomb, but also cared about every smallest detail. To prevent grass from growing over the grave, Prince Chun used a secret technique believed to have originated in the Western Xia period. This involved baking earth in 100 large cauldrons to remove all nutrients, then mixing it with hot sulfur before laying it atop the grave. Thanks to this method, for hundreds of years, the ground above Cixi's tomb has remained completely bare, evoking a sense of solemnity and reminding visitors of her perfectionism in life. Inside the tomb is a world of treasures. According to the records of Li Lianying, Cixi's most trusted eunuch, she was buried with 85 precious gems, 203 pieces of white jade, thousands of pearls, and many valuable items such as lotus roots made of jade, watermelons of jadeite, and 27 Buddha street echus also crafted from jadeite. All of these items were of immense material and spiritual value, But the most remarkable was the luminous pearl placed in Cixie's mouth. This pearl was said to emit a green glow in the dark and to help preserve the body for a long time, something that astonished many witnesses who saw it firsthand. Yet this opulence and the mysteries surrounding the tomb would eventually lead to tragedy. In 1928, 20 years after Cixie's death, her mausoleum became the target of a notorious looting by the warlord Sunday Dianying. Under the guise of military maneuvers, Sun's forces arrived at the eastern Qing tombs, used explosives to break open the gates, and pried open Cixie's coffin. When the casket was finally opened, all present were stunned to see that her body was almost perfectly preserved, as if she were merely sleeping, even though 2 decades had passed. Many believe it was the luminous pearl and the airtight environment inside the coffin that kept her body intact. But after the pearl was taken, the process of decomposition accelerated rapidly. Her flesh turned black, shriveled, and dried out in a short time. When investigators arrived at the scene, they found Cixie's remains in a tragic state, covered in mold. The plundering of the tomb was not only a serious affront to Cixie herself, but also a mirror reflecting the decline of the Qing dynasty in Chinese society during the turmoil of the early 20th century. Many have said that if CIXI had not built such a lavish tomb, these tragedies might not have occurred. In 1983, the Chinese government reopened the coffin to restore her remains. When archaeologists approached, they recorded a strange light emanating from within the coffin, and in Cixie's hands was a small pouch containing a tooth and 2 fingernails. Though the tomb had been ravaged and seriously damaged, it still retained something of its original grandeur, a silent witness to a once glorious dynasty. Today, the tomb of Empress Dowager Cixie is not simply a magnificent architectural work, but stands as a symbol of power, extravagance, and the fragility of all material legacies created by humankind. The story of her tomb is a reminder that no matter how great one's power may be, in the end, everyone must return to dust. The tomb of Alexander the Great. Throughout the span of world history, few figures can match Alexander the Great in terms of influence. He was born in Macedonia in 356 BC, and in just over a decade, he built an empire stretching from Greece all the way to India. Alexander never lost a battle on the battlefield, and because of this, his name became a symbol of ambition and victory. Yet when he died suddenly in Babylon in 323 BC, no one knew where the tomb of Alexander the Great was located. The death of Alexander the Great remains a topic of debate. According to many historians, he died after a prolonged fever, possibly from illness, or perhaps poisoning. Plutarch wrote that before falling ill, Alexander attended a grand banquet with his close generals and drank wine with Admiral Nearchus. Some believed he had been poisoned, while Diodorus recorded that Alexander was in great pain after drinking a large bowl of wine, but showed no signs of fever. Greek legend also claimed that his body did not decay for 6 days, leading many to believe that he was not just a king, but possessed divine powers. After his death, the question of Alexander's final resting place became the focus of countless legends and controversies that have lasted for centuries. According to the Roman historian Curtius Rufus, after Alexander's death, General Ptolemy brought his body to Memphis, an ancient city in Egypt. Later, the body was transferred to Alexandria, the city Alexander himself had founded, and it was here that his tomb is believed to have existed for a long time. This tomb became a sacred site, drawing some of the most famous figures of ancient Rome, such as Julius Caesar, Augustus, and Caracalla. Julius Caesar is recorded as having visited Alexander's tomb in 48 BC. Augustus placed a golden crown upon his mummy in 30 BC, and Caracalla also visited in 215 AD. These details show that the tomb truly once existed in Alexandria, possibly within the royal palace complex, but its exact location was never clearly documented. Some ancient sources suggest the tomb may now be submerged due to geological changes, as a portion of the old royal quarter of Alexandria is now under the sea. Ancient texts also do not describe the appearance or structure of the tomb, adding to the mystery of Alexander's final resting place. Beyond the Alexandria theory, many scholars have also mentioned Siwa Oasis, the place where Alexander made a pilgrimage to consult the oracle of Amun-Ra in 331 BC. There, he was proclaimed the son of the god Amun, further reinforcing his divine status in the eyes of his people. Some historical sources suggest Alexander once expressed a desire to be buried at the temple of Zeus Ammon in Siwa, but that wish was never realized. In the 1990s, archaeologist Liana Suvaltsi claimed to have discovered a tomb in Siwa that could be Alexander's burial site, but there was no solid evidence, and the claim was rejected by the academic community. Excavations at Siwa yielded no truly convincing traces, and over time, the Siwa hypothesis gradually lost traction. Ancient records sometimes only make the matter more complicated. Some sources state that Ptolemy Philopator, a descendant of Ptolemy, moved Alexander's remains into a collective tomb along with other Ptolemaic kings in Alexandria, and after Caracalla's visit, the tomb seemed to vanish from history. Some believe it was looted in Roman times, destroyed by natural disasters, war, or simply lost amid Alexandria's transformations over the centuries. A more recent hypothesis, put forward by researcher Andrew Chugg in 2020, suggests that Alexander's body was once temporarily placed in the sarcophagus of Pharaoh Nectanebo II in Memphis before being moved to Alexandria. This sarcophagus is currently held in the British Museum, but there is no definitive proof it ever held Alexander's remains. The search for Alexander's tomb has never ceased across generations. Modern archaeologists have placed great hopes in excavations in Alexandria, but everything remains shrouded in mystery. In reality, Alexandria today is a modern city, with much of its ancient area buried beneath the ground or underwater, and any excavation would require major interventions in residential and urban infrastructure, something nearly impossible without concrete and compelling evidence. Professor Andrew Erskine of the University of Edinburgh once emphasized that ancient sources only say the tomb was somewhere within the Royal Palace district of Alexandria, but no one can pinpoint its exact location. Today, the tomb of Alexander the Great is not just an archaeological mystery, but stands as a symbol of the greatness and, at the same time, the fragility of all human legacy. If one day the tomb is found, the cultural treasures and historical records inside would surely shed new light on the life and empire of Alexander. However, as long as ancient records remain so contradictory, and as the landscape of Alexandria has changed so drastically after 2,000 years, it is likely that the mystery of Alexander's resting place will endure for a very long time. The tomb of Qin Shi Huang, one of the greatest wonders of the ancient world, with its mighty terracotta army of 8,000 fully armed warriors, was built more than 2,000 years ago. The tomb of Qin Shi Huang can be considered one of the most significant discoveries in the history of world archaeology, a place shrouded in deadly traps and mysteries. Yet people have always sought to unlock the secrets of Qin Shi Huang's final resting place. Have you ever wondered whether inside that ancient tomb there might exist technologies that were not rediscovered until centuries later, or how people were able to create such a formidable terracotta army? Why, even today, though we know the location, have we still not managed to fully explore this monumental wonder? Even if you are not a history buff, Qin Shi Huang is certainly a name you have heard at least once. Some call him the first emperor of China, while others view him as a ruthless tyrant. However, no one can deny the profound impact this man had on human history. Qin Shi Huang was the emperor who founded the Qin dynasty, the first unified dynasty in Chinese history. To prepare for his journey to the afterlife, the emperor began construction of his own mausoleum in 246 BC. After 38 years of building, with more than 700,000 workers and skilled craftsmen, the tomb was finally completed. In reality, construction began when Qin Shi Huang was only 13 years old, but it accelerated after he ascended the throne and was only completed after his death. The tomb of Qin Shi Huang was discovered in Xi'an, Shaanxi Province, China in 1974, after a group of local farmers unearthed the first life-size terracotta warrior. Recent surveys show that the underground tomb measures 260 meters east to west and 160 meters north to south, with a total area of 41,600 square meters. It is the largest tomb of the Qin and Han dynasties, its size equivalent to 5 international soccer fields. The central burial area is said to resemble a palace and is believed to be where the emperor's body and countless treasures are located. This section alone occupies 2/3 of the entire complex. The tomb also includes burial sites for the emperor's concubines, with 48 small tombs discovered so far. Additionally, archaeologists have found 98 chambers adjacent to the area of the terracotta army. These clay statues remained hidden for more than 2,200 years. The army consists of over 8,000 life-size terracotta statues, buried next to Qin Shi Huang's tomb to guard him in the afterlife. These soldiers were crafted by the finest artisans, employing the most sophisticated techniques of their time. Around the tomb of Qin Shi Huang, there are many stories that have left scientists baffled. The first story occurred in 1974, the year the tomb was discovered. After receiving a report of strange clay statues in Shahe village, Xi'an, a team of archaeologists was sent to investigate. But after more than a month of searching, there was almost no progress. While the team was at an impasse, an old man in unusual clothing appeared at the site. He asked the team what they were searching for. Because their work was confidential, the team remained silent. On the second day, the old man reappeared and repeated his question, again receiving no answer. On the third day, he showed up once more, and this time, he led them to a different spot, telling them there was something beneath the ground they were looking for. The team, half skeptical, dug at the indicated spot and indeed uncovered a significant number of terracotta statues. This story sparked many rumors suggesting that the mysterious old man was actually an incarnation of one of the terracotta warriors, guiding the archaeologists. However, later, members of the excavation team clarified that this was a fabrication, insisting that no such old man appeared during their work. Furthermore, if he had truly been a reincarnated warrior, it would have been a grave taboo for him to lead outsiders to disturb the emperor's tomb. The second story concerns the revival of the Terracotta Army in 1997. At the time, experts were conducting a survey when they suddenly detected a strong, unpleasant odor. Following the smell, they were shocked to discover several corpses within the Terracotta Army site. Stranger still, these bodies were not dressed like ordinary people, and one of them was found clutching the head of a statue. This time, it was more than just rumor. There was concrete evidence, and a serious investigation followed. Forensic examination determined the deaths had occurred just over a week before. None of the bodies bore any wounds, and all were identified as tomb robbers. After these findings were made public, people were terrified. Some believed the robbers had been killed by the terracotta warriors themselves, whose role was to protect the emperor's tomb from intruders. Local authorities had no answer except to calm public fears, and the deaths remain a mystery. Inside the tomb are also lamps known as eternal lights. When discovered, archaeologists were astounded to find that they were still burning, as if they had never been extinguished in 1,000 years, despite having been underground in darkness and dampness for centuries. Remarkably, these seemingly unscientific lamps are not unique to Qin Shi Huang's tomb. Similar eternal lights have been found in other ancient Chinese tombs, and even in Egypt. In 1400, a lamp was discovered in the tomb of Pallas, son of King Evander of ancient Rome, which had burned for more than 2,000 years. Neither wind nor water could extinguish its eternal flame. The only way to put out the lamp was said to be to remove the special liquid inside. One theory to explain these eternal lights is that they were fueled by whale oil, rather than conventional materials. Ancient Chinese texts mention that whale oil was once used for lighting due to its incredible durability. Furthermore, these lamps were specially designed so that the whale oil would drip back into the reservoir, making the supply effectively endless. However, it was not until American chemist Simon Affleck published a study that gained wide support among archaeologists that the mystery was truly explained. He conducted hundreds of experiments and discovered a special fuel, mainly white phosphorus, combined with other substances in specific ratios. White phosphorus ignites at a very low temperature. When the tomb is opened and exposed to air, the phosphorus self-ignites and glows, creating the illusion of a lamp burning for 1,000 years. In reality, this is just a spontaneous combustion phenomenon, not a lamp that has burned continuously for millennia as people once believed. Have you ever wondered why, despite the tomb of Qin Shi Huang having been discovered so many years ago, it has never been fully excavated? What has protected the first emperor's tomb and kept it inviolate for more than 2,000 years? Since the first terracotta warriors were unearthed, archaeologists have been searching for ways to penetrate deeper into the tomb. However, progress has stalled due to concerns about disrupting the underground structure of the mausoleum, especially the mound that contains the emperor's remains. Most significantly, to protect his tomb from thieves, Qin Shi Huang designed deadly traps within the mausoleum itself. Currently, the Chinese government has no plans to excavate the main tomb out of fear that some traps may still be active. Moreover, with today's technology, experts worry that ancient relics could be destroyed upon exposure to air and sunlight. Experts agree that recklessly excavating Qin Shi Huang's tomb could disrupt the delicate balance of its underground structure, resulting in unpredictable losses for archaeology. Therefore, deeper exploration remains strictly restricted. For years, there has been no evidence that Qin Shi Huang's tomb has ever been looted. It is believed that the first line of defense was a sea of sand surrounding the tomb, making it impossible for robbers to tunnel their way in. Quicksand was one of the earliest known methods to deter theft. Intruders would be trapped and suffocated. Many historical and archaeological records suggest the tomb is protected by other layers of deadly traps. One of the greatest mysteries is the artificial river of mercury inside the mausoleum. This has been partially confirmed, as scientists using modern technology have detected mercury concentrations in the soil far exceeding normal levels, possibly 380 times higher. This matches the accounts in Sima Qian's records of the Grand Historian, which described rivers of mercury in the tomb. Ancient records also indicate that the tomb contained many doors and corridors equipped with automatic crossbows made of mulberry wood, capable of firing at intruders. In addition, there were razor-sharp poison blades. One touch would be fatal. These elaborate defenses have made the tomb of Qin Shi Huang an inviolable site for more than 2,000 years. To this day, no one has dared to excavate the entire tomb of Qin Shi Huang because of technical, spiritual, and safety concerns. The mysteries of this mausoleum remain unsolved, and any future excavation may have to wait for advances in science and technology. The tomb of Pharaoh Tutankhamun. The tomb of King Tutankhamun stunned the entire world of archaeology from the moment it was first discovered. While most other tombs in the Valley of the Kings had suffered severe destruction over time, the burial site of Tutankhamun remained almost completely intact after thousands of years. What's more, the mysterious deaths of 22 archaeologists involved in the excavation sent chills throughout the world, as the tale of a deadly curse on anyone who dared disturb the king's eternal rest took on a life of its own. The mysteries surrounding the curse, the rumored deadly traps, and the treasures believed to be buried within have created a fascination that makes it almost impossible to look away from the story of Tutankhamun's tomb. Tutankhamun was born around 1341 B.C. in Akhetaten, now known as Amarna. He was originally named Tutankhaten, meaning the living image of the god Aten, and only later changed his name to Tutankhamun when the official religion shifted. Tutankhamun was the son of Pharaoh Akhenaten and a secondary wife. According to many modern studies, his mother was most likely Akhenaten's own sister, making Tutankhamun the product of an incestuous royal marriage, a practice fairly common in ancient Egypt's ruling families. King Tutankhamun's health and appearance were quite unusual compared to other pharaohs. He had a slender build, stood about 180 centimeters tall, and his face was marked by prominent front teeth. Anthropological and modern genetic studies also indicate he may have had a cleft palate and mild scoliosis. Most notably, his left foot was deformed due to bone necrosis, which forced him to use a walking stick, a fact supported by the many canes found in his tomb. In addition, DNA analysis of his mummy shows that Tutankhamun had contracted several strains of malaria parasites and suffered from prolonged secondary infections, severely weakening his immune system. The prevailing scientific theory is that the main cause of death for this young pharaoh was an infected fracture in his left leg, made worse by his already fragile health, itself a result of generations of royal inbreeding. To this day, there is no historical document recording the exact date of Tutankhamun's death. The true cause of his demise remains a matter of intense debate among scientists. Some theories even suggest that the young pharaoh may have been murdered. However, no final conclusion has ever been reached, and the question of what really killed Tutankhamun continues to be one of ancient Egypt's greatest unsolved mysteries. Tutankhamun's tomb was broken into at least twice within just a few months of his burial, and some burial goods were stolen. Yet what surprised archaeologists was that the tomb itself was quite small and rather simple in both design and decoration compared to the tombs of other pharaohs. Some believe this was because Tutankhamun was overthrown by his successor, or that the tomb was hastily constructed due to his sudden death. Nevertheless, inside that modest chamber lay a vast quantity of gold, jewels, and valuable artifacts. This treasure deceived ancient tomb robbers, who never imagined that such wealth could be hidden in such an unassuming place. After his death, King Tutankhamun was maligned as the son of a heretical pharaoh and gradually disappeared from Egyptian historical records. It wasn't until the late 19th century that British archaeologist Howard Carter began the search for his tomb, funded by Lord Carnarvon, a wealthy aristocrat with a passion for Egyptian archaeology. After 5 years of searching, it was finally in November 1922 that the excavation team uncovered a staircase leading down to a tomb buried deep beneath the earth in the Valley of the Kings. When the tomb was opened, everyone was astonished to find it almost perfectly preserved after thousands of years. Inside, they found over 600 items of gold, precious jewels, and the mummy of Tutankhamun himself. Inscribed on the coffin was a chilling warning: "Death shall come on swift wings to him who disturbs the king's peace." This marked the beginning of a string of bizarre incidents that sent shivers through the public. In the span of 7 years, a total of 22 people involved in the tomb's excavation died from mysterious causes, with only 2 surviving. The first to die was Lord Carnarvon, the main sponsor of the dig. He succumbed to blood poisoning from a mosquito bite. And this sudden death fueled rumors of a pharaoh's curse. Several others from the team died of illnesses such as pneumonia or unexplained health complications after entering the tomb. One particularly notable case was Bruce Ingham, who received a souvenir taken from Tutankhamun's tomb and soon after suffered a string of misfortunes, convincing many that he had been cursed. Strangely enough, Howard Carter, the archaeologist who discovered the tomb, remained healthy and lived to old age, making the mystery of the curse even harder to explain. Egyptologists and many scientists have pointed out that the pharaoh's curse is actually a product of media sensationalism and 19th century fiction. Scientifically, epidemiological studies show that ancient tombs often harbor highly toxic bacteria and molds, such as Aspergillus niger. This fungus can cause allergies, pulmonary hemorrhage, or pneumonia, and is particularly dangerous for the elderly and those with weakened immune systems. Moreover, many toxic gases exist inside these tombs, and even live bats carrying respiratory pathogens have been found. Notably, most members of the original excavation team were elderly, in poor health, and lacked modern protective gear, making them especially vulnerable to illness after exposure to the tomb's hazardous environment. Although scientists have been able to explain most of the deaths connected to Tutankhamun's tomb, many mysteries remain, such as why only some individuals were affected while others were untouched. It is these unresolved questions that continue to fuel fascination and controversy over Egypt's most infamous, cursed tomb. If you have thoughts or theories about the secrets still hidden inside, feel free to share them in the comments below. The Tomb of Cyrus the Great. Cyrus the Great was the king who founded the Achaemenid Empire and became one of the greatest conquerors in human history. He unified and ruled over an immense territory stretching from the Mediterranean all the way to the Indus River, creating an empire that had never before existed at that time. After his death in 530 BC, he left behind a tomb at Pasargadae, a place that has now been recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. Unlike many royal tombs that are shrouded in legend, the location of Cyrus's tomb is still plainly visible. However, the secrets within and the circumstances surrounding his death remain a topic of debate and confusion among historians to this day. Cyrus II was born around the year 600 BC and began his rise to history when he became king of Anshan in 559 BC. He defeated King Astyages of Media and laid the foundation for a vast Persian empire. But he didn't stop there. Cyrus went on to conquer the kingdom of Lydia, defeat Babylon, and take control of many other lands. To his subjects, Cyrus was more than just a king. He was called the Father, known for his policy of tolerance and his respect for the cultures and religions of the people he conquered. Evidence of his vision can be found on the Cyrus Cylinder, a cuneiform inscription discovered in Babylon in 1878, often regarded as the world's first charter of human rights, establishing freedom of belief and the abolition of slavery. However, the death of Cyrus remains an unresolved mystery. According to the historian Herodotus, Cyrus died in 529 BC while fighting the Massagetae tribe, led by Queen Tamiris. The story goes that after Cyrus proposed marriage and was rejected, Tamiris led her army to defeat him, then cut off his head and immersed it in blood to fulfill her curse. Meanwhile, historian Xenophon insisted that Cyrus died of old age at Pasargadae, while Berossus wrote that he died in battle against the Dahai. These conflicting records have left the circumstances of Cyrus's death shrouded in a veil of mystery that no one has been able to fully lift. The tomb of Cyrus is located within the ancient royal park at Pasargadae, standing out with its simple yet enduring beauty. The structure rises 11 meters high, with 6 stacked stone steps resembling a pyramid. The main burial chamber is 3.17 meters long, over 2 meters wide and high, and has only one small, low entrance. The tomb was built from yellow-white limestone, quarried from Savand, and is influenced by the style of Lydia's tombs and the ziggurat structures of ancient Mesopotamia. It is also considered the world's oldest earthquake-resistant structure, thanks to a foundation made of clay and ceramics designed to absorb shock. One of the most famous stories related to the tomb occurred when Alexander the Great, who admired Cyrus through Xenophon's Cyropedia, personally visited the tomb in 324 BC after conquering Persepolis. According to historian Arrian, Alexander ordered Aristobulus to go inside the burial chamber. Aristobulus saw a golden coffin containing the remains of Cyrus placed on a golden table, along with a golden bed, a drinking cup, and many pieces of jewelry inlaid with precious stones. When Alexander found out the tomb had been robbed, he was extremely angry, ordering the tomb to be restored, resealed with the royal seal, and the robbers to be severely punished. But by 1903, when Professor William Jackson visited the tomb, all he found was a narrow, empty entrance with no trace of the golden coffin or any treasure left. The biggest question scholars still ask is what happened to the treasures inside the tomb of Cyrus. Some believe that during the chaos following Alexander's death, when the Diadochi Wars broke out among his generals, the tomb was looted and its precious objects stolen. Others suggest that Zoroastrian priests, or local people, may have hidden the treasures to protect them. Cyrus's tomb is also associated with religious controversy. According to historian Mary Boyce, Cyrus was a follower of Zoroastrianism, and his tomb contains many characteristic design elements, including a fire altar nearby. Xenophon recorded that Cyrus invited Magi priests to his court, reflecting his flexible attitude toward religion. This makes the spiritual value of the tomb even more complicated, as people still question whether it is truly his final resting place or merely a symbol of the power of an empire that once ruled the world. Today, the tomb of Cyrus the Great still stands tall in Pasargadae, as the clearest proof of both the greatness and humility of a king who changed the ancient world. Even though the golden coffin and legendary inscription have disappeared, this tomb endures with time and continues to challenge anyone who seeks to uncover the secrets of his life and death. The Tomb of Nefertiti. Nefertiti stands as one of the legendary queens of ancient Egypt, a symbol of power interwoven with mystery. She was the principal wife of Pharaoh Akhenaten and is renowned worldwide not only for her beauty, immortalized in the famous bust displayed at the Berlin Museum, but also for her pivotal role in the political and religious upheavals of the 18th dynasty. To this day, the final resting place of Nefertiti remains one of the greatest unanswered questions in Egyptian archaeology. Some researchers believe that she may have been buried in a hidden chamber near the tomb of Tutankhamun, who is thought to be either her son or stepson, based on promising signs uncovered through radar scans. However, to date, all excavations have failed to provide conclusive evidence, and the tomb of Nefertiti continues to captivate the curiosity of archaeologists, historians, and history enthusiasts across the world. Nefertiti's full name was Nefer-Neferuaten, Nefertiti, meaning the beautiful one has come. She was not only Akhenaten's queen, but also a central figure during a transitional period for both the dynasty and Egyptian religion. When Akhenaten decided to abandon the traditional gods and worship only the sun god Aten, he also moved the capital from Thebes to Amarna. During this era, Nefertiti appeared at her husband's side in grand ceremonies and was even depicted as a co-ruler. Reliefs at Amarna show her driving a chariot, presiding over major rituals, and even personally punishing enemies, something rarely seen among Egyptian queens. Scholars such as Dr. Nicholas Reeves have even suggested that, after Akhenaten's death, Nefertiti may have ruled as pharaoh under the name Nefer-Neferuaten before Tutankhamun took the throne. However, no definitive evidence has ever confirmed this, so Nefertiti's true position in Egyptian history remains a matter of debate. The tomb of Nefertiti is a profound mystery that no one has yet been able to solve. Unlike Tutankhamun's tomb, discovered in 1922 with more than 5,000 precious artifacts, Nefertiti's burial site has never been identified. Some theories suggest she might have been buried at Amarna, the city she and Akhenaten built and ruled, but nearly all tombs there were destroyed after their dynasty collapsed. A more prominent theory, proposed by Dr. Nicholas Reeves in 2015, suggests that Nefertiti's tomb may lie concealed within or immediately beside the tomb of Tutankhamun, designated KV-62. Reeves argued that the unusually small size of Tutankhamun's tomb for a pharaoh might mean it was actually built as an antechamber to a much larger tomb originally intended for Nefertiti. The wall paintings, in which Pharaoh I performs funerary rites for Tutankhamun, may have been painted over earlier scenes showing Tutankhamun performing the same rites for Nefertiti. This idea has only added to the intrigue. In 2015, preliminary radar scans by Egypt's Ministry of Antiquities in cooperation with Cairo University revealed temperature anomalies on the north wall of Tutankhamun's tomb. This discovery led many experts to believe there could be a void or hidden chamber behind it. Yet that hope faded quickly. By 2018, a research team from the Polytechnic University of Turin, led by Dr. Francesco Porcelli, used ground-penetrating radar and concluded that there were no secret rooms or corridors adjoining KV-62. The Egyptian Ministry of Antiquities confirmed this finding, entirely refuting Reeves's theory, although some archaeologists, such as Remy Hiramoto, insist that the initial data cannot simply be dismissed. Even though Nefertiti's tomb has never been found, it remains a symbol of the enduring mystery of ancient Egypt. If the hidden chamber that Dr. Reeves proposed does exist, it could hold treasures and historical records even more significant than those found in Tutankhamun's tomb, shedding new light on the fate and legacy of this extraordinary woman. But as each new excavation fails to provide a breakthrough, the enigma only seems to deepen. Nefertiti, with her timeless beauty and power, remains a name lingering somewhere among the sands of Egypt, continuing to challenge all efforts to uncover her secrets. Do you believe her tomb will ever be found? The Tomb of Cleopatra. Cleopatra VII, the last queen of ancient Egypt, is one of the most remarkable figures ever to appear in human history. She is famous not only for her beauty and sharp intellect, but also for her ability to hold onto power during a period when Egypt was constantly under threat of being consumed by Rome. The story of her life and death has inspired countless works of art. Yet to this day, Cleopatra's final resting place remains one of the greatest mysteries in Egyptian archaeology. Cleopatra was born in 69 BC and ascended the throne at the young age of 18. Even in her youth, she displayed exceptional resolve, overcoming fierce court rivalries and quickly asserting her status alongside her brother, Ptolemy XII. To consolidate her power, Cleopatra forged strategic relationships with the most powerful men in Rome, such as Julius Caesar and later Mark Antony. The romance and political alliance between Cleopatra and Mark Antony brought Egypt years of stability, but ultimately it was this very relationship that led to tragedy, as Rome under Octavian grew ever stronger. The Battle of Actium in 31 BC marked the defeat of Cleopatra and Mark Antony by the Roman army. Facing the prospect of being captured as prisoners, Mark Antony took his own life, and Cleopatra chose to end hers as well, either by the bite of a venomous snake or by poison. After her death, Cleopatra requested to be buried beside Mark Antony, and this wish was honored by the victor, Octavian. Their shared tomb was described as a solemn structure befitting the queen's status. According to Plutarch, this tomb was located near a temple dedicated to the goddess Isis, whom Cleopatra revered as her own divine embodiment. Alexandria, once the heart of Egyptian power and culture, was the most likely site for such a tomb. However, over 2 millennia, the city has changed dramatically due to earthquakes, tsunamis, and rising sea levels. Many of Cleopatra's palaces and temples now lie beneath the waters of the Mediterranean. Some archaeologists believe the tomb could be located somewhere on land around Alexandria, while others think it may have sunk along with the city's ancient monuments. The search for Cleopatra's tomb has fascinated researchers for decades. One of the most notable efforts is led by Kathleen Martinez, a Dominican lawyer turned archaeologist. Martinez believes that as an incarnation of Isis, Cleopatra may have chosen this site as her final resting place. Her team has discovered over 2,000 artifacts there, including coins bearing Cleopatra's image, statues of Isis, and even an ancient cemetery with gold-covered mummies. In 2009, the research group uncovered a tunnel over a kilometer long beneath the temple, leading to an underground chamber that many hope might be the entrance to the royal tomb. Yet, despite these promising discoveries, no concrete evidence has confirmed that Cleopatra was actually buried there. Alongside efforts on land, underwater explorations have also taken place around the ancient harbor of Alexandria. Since the 1990s, Franck Gaudio's team has mapped the areas that once contained Cleopatra's palaces, harbors, and temples before they slipped beneath the sea. Massive stone blocks, sphinx statues, and columns have been found at depths of 5 to 10 meters, but no trace of the queen's tomb has ever emerged. The mystery of Cleopatra's tomb is not only about its location, but also about the meaning it holds. Should the tomb one day be discovered, archaeologists may find priceless treasures, jewelry, papyrus documents, or even the mummies of Cleopatra and Mark Antony. These finds could help us better understand the Ptolemaic dynasty and the character of this famous queen. Ancient sources describe Cleopatra as a highly intelligent woman, fluent in several languages, well-versed in mathematics and philosophy, and her tomb may well reflect the splendor, intellect, and ambition of one of the greatest queens of the ancient world. The tomb of Emperor Qianlong. Emperor Qianlong stands as one of the most illustrious rulers of the Qing dynasty, his name forever linked with a flourishing era of the Chinese Empire. Renowned not only for his statesmanship and military achievements, but also for his patronage of the arts and poetry, Qianlong left a profound legacy, one that is embodied in his tomb, the Yu Mausoleum. This grand and lavish structure, set deep within the Eastern Qing tombs, is not only the final resting place of the emperor and his favored consorts, but also the center of strange tales and unresolved mysteries. Construction of the Yu Mausoleum began in 1752, at the height of Qianlong's power. The entire burial chamber was designed with remarkable security. 4 massive stone gates led to the innermost crypt, which housed the coffins of Qianlong, 2 empresses, and 3 beloved concubines. The tomb was adorned with treasures, gold, jade, rare woods, and was equipped with one of the most advanced waterproofing systems of its time. To safeguard his eternal rest and that of his consorts, Qianlong ordered the mausoleum to be built as a fortress, which he believed to be impenetrable. Yet, despite these formidable defenses, inexplicable events have taken place inside the Yu Mausoleum, incidents that continue to invite doubt and wonder. In 1928, the Yu Mausoleum became the target of the warlord Sunday Dianying. Under the pretense of a military exercise, his troops dynamited the stone gates and broke into the crypt to loot its treasures. While they easily breached the first 3 stone gates, the group was halted at the 4th, the threshold to the main chamber. When they used explosives to force entry, they discovered that Qianlong's coffin had been moved from its position atop the stone bed to block the entrance, as if someone or something had deliberately tried to stop them. Remarkably, this coffin was extraordinarily heavy, made from precious Nanmu wood, and could not have shifted on its own without tremendous force. This bizarre occurrence terrified the looters, sending them fleeing from the tomb. In 1975, when archaeologists returned to open the tomb for restoration, they witnessed the same phenomenon. Once again, Qianlong's coffin blocked the final stone gate, even though no one had entered since the 1928 robbery. To this day, this eerie coincidence remains unexplained, leading many to believe that the emperor himself still guards his tomb from the afterlife. Another mystery surrounds the remains of imperial noble consort Ling, Emperor Jiaqing's birth mother. In 1928, when the tomb was opened, her body was found perfectly preserved. Her flesh and face looked as if she had only just passed, showing no sign of decay even after 153 years. This is a rare phenomenon, for among the 6 tombs of the Yu Mausoleum, she alone was preserved in such a state, while all other empresses and concubines had turned to dust or bone. Some researchers attribute this to special mummification techniques, or to the airtight environment of her coffin, but no one can explain why only Ling Consort's body was so perfectly kept. This anomaly has fueled countless tales of the supernatural, with many suggesting that her spirit remains behind to protect her loved ones and the mausoleum itself. The tomb of Qianlong is also famous for the legendary 9 Dragons treasure sword, perhaps the most fabled relic of the Qing dynasty. This long, sharply curved Mongolian-style sword was sheathed in sharkskin and inlaid with rubies. Its blade was decorated with 9 winding dragons, symbols of imperial longevity and absolute power. Yet the sword is also associated with a curse. After being looted in 1928, it changed hands many times, from Dai Li, who died in a fiery plane crash in 1946, to Ma Han-tang, who was shot dead, and to Japanese spy Kawashima Yoshiko, who was executed. Even Sunday Dianying, mastermind of the robbery, was executed soon after. Many believe that anyone who takes this sword will meet misfortune, and that its curse is tied to the act of carrying grave goods from the world of the dead into the world of the living. To this day, the true whereabouts of the 9 Dragons treasure sword remain unknown, yet stories of its curse continue to haunt those who seek it. The Yu Mausoleum is not simply a royal resting place. it is a living witness to events beyond human comprehension. From the moving coffin and the perfectly preserved consort to the mysterious curse of the nine-dragon sword, the mausoleum is shrouded in a fog of legend and mystery. Despite advances in science and the efforts of many research teams, these strange phenomena remain without definitive explanation, turning the Yu Mausoleum into one of China's most fascinating and enigmatic historical sites. The Tomb of Pharaoh Khufu. The Great Pyramid of Giza, the tomb of Pharaoh Khufu, stands tall in the Egyptian desert as an enduring testament to the power and ambition of ancient civilization. Not only is this the largest pyramid in the Giza complex, but it is also the only surviving wonder of the ancient world. Built more than 4,500 years ago, this monument is not just the final resting place of a legendary king, but also a monumental riddle that has challenged every generation since. The way ancient Egyptians managed to stack millions of massive stone blocks with such absolute precision continues to astonish and confound modern science. Pharaoh Khufu belonged to the 4th dynasty and ruled from about 2589 to 2566 BCE. He was the son of Pharaoh Sneferu and Queen Hetepheres I. While much of Khufu's life remains shrouded in mystery, his greatest legacy is undoubtedly the Great Pyramid itself, which was begun around 2560 BCE and completed after more than 20 years of relentless labor. Originally standing at 146.6 meters tall, now reduced to about 138.5 meters as the outer casing stones have long since been stripped away, the pyramid held the title of the world's tallest man-made structure for over 3,000 years. The Egyptians used more than 3 million blocks of stone, each weighing an average of 2.5 tons, to build this colossal tomb, a feat that demonstrated their unwavering belief in Khufu's eternal presence in the afterlife. The greatest mystery surrounding the Great Pyramid lies in how it was built. The ancient Egyptians quarried limestone from nearby Giza, while the heavy granite blocks for the king's chamber were transported from Aswan, nearly 800 kilometers away. Recent archaeological discoveries show that the Egyptians made use of ancient canals and boats along the Nile to ferry these stones to the construction site. Yet, how they managed to lift and position such massive stones at great heights with almost perfect precision remains unsolved. Theories have ranged from spiral ramps to hydraulic lifts, but none have been definitively proven. The accuracy of the pyramid's construction is staggering. Each base side measures 234 meters in length, with an error margin of less than 0.05 degrees from true north, evidence that the Egyptians possessed astronomical and mathematical knowledge far ahead of their time. Inside the Great Pyramid lies a labyrinth of corridors, secret chambers, and unexplained spaces. There are 3 main chambers: the subterranean chamber, carved deep into the bedrock but left unfinished; the Queen's chamber, possibly intended for a statue or the King's Ka spirit; and the King's chamber, which contains an empty granite sarcophagus. No mummy, no funerary treasures have ever been found inside. Unlike later royal tombs, there are no hieroglyphic inscriptions or painted walls in Khufu's pyramid, only a few builders' graffiti noting the king's name and the work crews. The Grand Gallery, soaring to 8.6 meters in height, leads directly to the king's chamber and stands as a marvel of ancient engineering. Above the king's chamber, archaeologists have found 4 relieving chambers, believed to reduce the weight of the stone above, but the most sensational discovery came in 2017. Using muon scanning technology, the Scan Pyramids project identified a large void, about 30 meters long, above the Grand Gallery. No one knows what this space was intended for, or whether it hides secrets from Khufu's time or is simply a structural feature. The mystery only deepens with the fact that no mummy or treasure has ever been found in the king's chamber. Some believe the tomb was robbed in antiquity. Others suspect the pyramid was never just a burial site, but also an ancient observatory, a temple to the gods, or even a lost device for harnessing unknown energy. The alignment of the 3 Giza pyramids with the constellation Orion has fueled further speculation about the pyramid's astronomical significance. Yet most scholars maintain that the Great Pyramid was indeed Khufu's tomb, even if the fate of his remains remains an open question. The deeper we delve, the more it becomes clear that the Great Pyramid is more than a tomb. It is a symbol of a civilization that reached the heights of technical, mathematical, and astronomical knowledge. The pyramid sits exactly at the intersection of the longest latitude and longitude on Earth. an achievement difficult to fathom with the primitive tools of antiquity. Surrounding the pyramid are temples, solar boats, and royal tombs, forming a sacred and awe-inspiring complex. Khufu's solar boat, measuring 43 meters long and discovered in 1954, was believed to be the vessel that would carry the king's soul to the afterlife. Despite centuries of change, its white limestone casing stripped away in the 14th century, the Great Pyramid has endured, weathering earthquakes and the harsh desert climate. If one day, the great voids within the pyramid are fully explored, we may finally understand more about ancient construction methods, spiritual purposes, or the old secrets the Egyptians wished to leave behind. But for now, the Great Pyramid of Giza remains a powerful reminder of both human greatness and the boundaries we have yet to cross. It is not merely Khufu's resting place, but a doorway to unanswerable questions, from engineering mysteries to the sacred meaning of every stone. What do you think is hidden in the great voids of the pyramid? The Tomb of Cao Cao. Cao Cao remains one of the most controversial figures in Chinese history. Renowned as a brilliant military strategist, a shrewd politician, and a gifted poet of the Three Kingdoms era. Born in 155 and passing away in 220, he not only unified northern China and founded the Wei dynasty, but also left a deep mark through his classic strategies and timeless literary works. Yet, his final resting place remains one of the great mysteries, fueling countless legends and debates for nearly 2,000 years. Cao Cao, courtesy name Mengde, was born in Chao County, present-day Haozhou, Anhui Province. He rose to the rank of chancellor at the end of the Eastern Han Dynasty. Historical records, such as Chen Shou's records of the Three Kingdoms, describe him as decisive and intelligent, but also famously suspicious and unafraid to use any means to achieve his goals. In contrast, Romance of the Three Kingdoms amplifies his image as a cunning villain, best known for the infamous line, "I would rather betray the world than let the world betray me." Despite criticism for his ruthlessness, Cao Cao is still respected by later generations for his extraordinary leadership and for shaping the era, as well as for poetic works like Short Song Style, which remains celebrated today. When Cao Cao died in 220 in Luoyang, he left strict instructions for a simple burial: no gold or silver, no ancestral halls, just a peaceful resting place to avoid disturbance. It was this caution and suspicion that turned his burial story into a centuries-long mystery, spawning countless theories and legends. In 2009, the Henan Provincial Institute of Archaeology announced the discovery of a large tomb in Zigaoshou Village, Anfeng Township, Anyang County, believed to be the final resting place of Cao Cao. The tomb covers 740 square meters, with 2 main chambers and a 40-meter-long entrance passage. Inside, archaeologists found 3 sets of remains: a man over 60 years old, matching Cao Cao's age at death, and 2 women believed to be his wife and a maid. More than 250 artifacts made of gold, silver, pottery, and stone carvings depicting Cao Cao's life were also unearthed. Most notably, stone tablets engraved with "frequently used by King Wu of Wei" and Emperor Wu of Wei have been cited as crucial evidence. The tomb's location also matches historical records, near the Wei capital at Ye. According to Xinhua News Agency, many leading Chinese experts and archaeologists agree this is indeed Cao Cao's tomb. Nevertheless, the authenticity of this discovery remains fiercely debated. Some scholars point out that the tomb had been looted several times before excavation, raising concerns that the artifacts could have been replaced or forged. The inscription, King Wu of Wei, on the stone tablets is also disputed, since this was a posthumous title, not one Cao Cao used during his life. Others believe the tomb might actually belong to another Wei ruler, or that the remains are from different individuals based on dating analyses. Moreover, the climate in Zigaoshue does not permit DNA testing, making it difficult to confirm the identity of the bones. Many are skeptical that the announcement of Cao Cao's tomb came too quickly, possibly to promote tourism in Anyang after the site was opened to visitors. Complicating matters further is the legend of Cao Cao's 72 false tombs. According to Romance of the Three Kingdoms and Qing-era sources, Cao Cao, fearing retribution through grave robbery, ordered the construction of 72 decoy tombs across the land, each with identical coffins to thwart enemies from finding his real grave. While the records of the Three Kingdoms does not mention this detail, the story is highly convincing, especially considering that Cao Cao himself once orchestrated tomb robberies to finance his wars. The tomb found in Anyang though large, is quite plain, with no murals and few treasures, exactly in line with Cao Cao's wishes for a frugal burial. Before the 2009 discovery, many attempts to locate Cao Cao's tomb had failed. The first clues emerged in 1998, when villagers found a later Zhao-era stone stele nearby. Further discoveries of hard-packed earth and mysterious water pits leading to the tomb followed in 2002 and 2006. However, repeated grave robberies resulted in the loss of many precious relics. The identities of the two female skeletons remain uncertain. Some suggest they belong to the wife of Cao Pi, Cao Cao's son, or to other women in the family. Ultimately, the tomb of Cao Cao and Anyang stands as testament to a life both admired and reviled, with a legacy spanning thousands of years. While the 2009 discovery brought hope, the ongoing controversies and tales of 72 false tombs mean that the riddle of his final resting place is far from solved. In a way, this perpetual mystery echoes the cunning and strategic genius of Cao Cao himself, a man whose story keeps generations guessing, even long after he is gone. Do you believe the tomb in Anyang is truly Cao Cao's resting place? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for joining us until the very end of this journey through history's most mysterious tombs. If you enjoy stories that remain unsolved, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss any of our upcoming adventures into the world's greatest mysteries. We hope to see you again in our next exploration.